All right, folks, here we go. This is your man, Adolphus A.D. Moore. Sequestered somewhere since I didn't go to Indianapolis. I got my man there, Elwyn Henderson, the Gilmer Mirror. Elwyn, they know how to make the Texans. Let me just go ahead and just say that the Texans are in the playoffs. First time
Yes.
since 2019. Who would have thunk it? I'm gonna probably just throw some vernaculars out here people hadn't heard in a while. I don't want to hear a darn thing from me, all you English professors. I didn't conjugate my verbs and all this other stuff right about now. And I'm not saying that's an excuse for poor English, poor habits. I'm just saying hey, just because I'm gonna be first one to admit right now. I only predicted if they won 7 games, I thought that would have been an outstanding season for the Houston Texans. They went beyond that. They are in the playoffs. 23-19 over the Indianapolis Colts, and they done it on the road. They done it, and they showed their mettle, and I think they showed the inner fortitude. They showed what D'Amico Ryans. I'm thinking about Nico Collins, but what D'Amico Ryans and what he has brought to this organization, and hopefully the stability. Your comments, your initial comments, then we're going to get to Mr. Ross, and then we're going to get back and tearing this thing up, Elwyn.
Well, obviously, you and I talked first day of training camp. We could see a difference in the demeanor of the team, the coaching staff, and we just felt like it was going to be a good season. I remember saying, well, I think we could go 7-10, and maybe if we could stay healthy, we could do 9-8. But I don't think even in my wildest expectations, even though I predicted at 3-3, my Gilmer Buckeyes would go 13-3 and win state, which they did. Even my positive attitude did not see this coming, and it's just exciting. And we'll talk a little bit more about CJ's interview with ESPN that I watched right before we came on after we get Mr. Ross taken care of here.
All right, let's go ahead and get Mr. Ross taken care of, and then we'll get back and chop it up.
Hello, I'm Ken Ross with the Ken Ross Insurance Agency. There are certain things that are important in our lives: our health, our safety, and our loved ones. With over 40 years of experience, I've seen just how important insurance can be. I value the importance of being a part of my community and being there when they need me. Insurance is important everywhere, but being here in South Texas, it is absolutely essential. From flood, home, auto, and life insurance, let the Ken Ross Agency be your agency of choice.
That's right, folks. 281-235-5952. The Ken Ross Agency has been my agent of choice, my personal agent, my friend, my fraternity brother, you name it, for the last 40 plus years. And I'm gonna tell you something. It's not a much more gracious professional to do business with than Ken Ross and that whole agency. And I tell you what, I take great pride in the fact that he felt like coming with me again this year on the AdMax Corner, and I'm just tipping my hat to him. Hopefully we can talk a little business for the playoffs, and not only that, but and while we're at it, let's go ahead and just break this news now, Elwyn. I got the fact that the AdMax Corner in the Houston Roundball Review has been credentialed again for Super Bowl 58. And so, yes, I will be going to the Super Bowl, and as well as you are, sir. So, they're gonna finally they'll either kick our carcasses out or they'll just drag us out to the desert and leave us.
Well, just like you, I'm happy to be back. This will be my 19th Super Bowl to have a press pass for and cover, and it never gets old.
No, it never gets old. And I remember my first one was 1995 Dallas Cowboys and the Buffalo Bills.
Yep.
And Emmitt Smith was the MVP. And it was a euphoric that was in Atlanta, Georgia, Ironically, our good friend, yours and mine, my last one with Max Edison was in the last Super Bowl in Atlanta, Georgia. But God rest his soul. I'm hoping he's encouraged. I hope he's happy. I hope he sits up high, and he's probably up there, cracking and whacking. And we know our friend. We know how he is. But you know what? He would give you the shirt off his back. When he was your friend, he was your friend, regardless of circumstances. So, but anyway, Houston Texans are in the playoffs. I probably need to go see a therapist after this, because I'm probably not. I did not. I mean, as much as we had anticipated, the fact that they they took this long journey. This past week when I was going back covering the teams, and conversation with D'Amico Ryans and everything, the team. Last week when they had the Tennessee Titans come in, they said that, hey, we got 8 quarters left. 8 quarters. They took care of the Tennessee Titans. Now it's down to 4 quarters. And I remember tweeting at the end of the third quarter, it's down to the last 15 minutes. And at that point in time, it was starting to look a little shaky. Wasn't really sure. It really was. These they didn't blink. The Houston Texans did not blink. I'm hopefully that the former Houston Oilers, since they want to wear their uniforms, hopefully they'll put those uniforms on against the Jacksonville Jaguars and actually go out there and defeat them. That way the Texans can probably throw up an AFC South banner. Now, yeah. I'm not going to sit up there and applaud. I'm applauding because they are in the playoffs. I'm not applauding for an AFC South banner, because we're not playing for the AFC South banner. It would be good to get it because it would give them a home game, a playoff home game. But if not, they're going to be on the road. And so we'll just have to see how that situation works out. First play of the game. What was your initial reactions? Because I'm going to be quite candid with you, man. When CJ stepped back in that pocket and it looked like, it didn't look like that ball was going to ever come down.
It was a little scary, but obviously it worked out perfectly well. And something that they showed on ESPN shortly before we came on, believe it or not, the Houston Texans made history in another way tonight. That is the first time all season long that any team in the NFL in all 17 games this year has scored on their first offensive play.
Oh, hey, wait, there was no doubt. They made a statement that, to me, that was a statement. That was a statement by the Houston Texans. And obviously Bobby Slowick, he had scripted that, and they said if they can get Nico Collins on man coverage, they felt like that they could do it, and with Schultz running that little flag route, and Nico Collins just basically just once he got past the corner, it was like, oh, he open, open. I'm sorry, he was so open. He probably could have went back to the Super Bowl that Indianapolis. He could have went into a time machine, came out of it and with that pass, but it was a play to behold. That, like I say, this team has destroyed all records. Here's the unique thing about Nico Collins. Against the Denver Broncos, 9 receptions, he had 191 yards. Okay, he bested that tonight by 4. He was 9 for 195 yards. And his longest one against the Denver Broncos was like 57 yards. Tonight, he just blew that all out the water. Okay, let me go ahead and just do this one. And he was 9 for 9. He was targeted 9 times, and that catch in the fourth quarter. That catch, and when you're trying to go back and start figuring out where was the turning point in the game, I cannot help but the Malik Collins when he jumped up and batted that ball down.
Yep.
To me, that sort of changed the momentum. That was a momentum changer for me. I'm not sure how anybody else looked at it, but I thought that one particular play, when you start having to put your hands out and trying to figure out, okay, what, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, I'm not too humble at times, but but to me, that was a game changer. That was a momentum. That was a momentum switch. That pass that he batted down on that third down play, and he batted down. And to me, I thought that changed the momentum. That changed the complexion of the game, because up until then, they were making mincemeat out of the Texans front, that front seven. They were grinding. Jonathan Taylor looked like, he looked like he was coming out of Wisconsin again. The way for a moment there, I'm trying to sit there and figure out, dude. They were just grinding them up, and I remember tweeting out, this is grown man football now, and somebody's got to come to the table. If you want to plan on winning, you got to come to the table. Somebody going to have to tighten up their belts, and they done. They did it. They taking everything into consideration. The Texans they clinched it, and I'm just sort of a little bit stunned. I'm gonna just say the least, and maybe a loss for words or two, Elwyn.
Yeah, me too. And the thing about it, that was the thing that scared me the most. I felt like the Texans had a good shot at going up there and winning tonight. But as you know, historically, they have never been able hardly to win in Indianapolis. And it was just about the hardest, place they were going to have a chance to get into the playoffs to have to win. But the thing that really impressed me, I think, as much as anything else, two things tonight. That final drive where we scored the go-ahead and winning touchdown, CJ was 7 for 7. And that pass that Nico caught over on the sideline, I thought CJ was just throwing the ball away.
He was. I think it was too. But I
didn't even remotely think he was going to catch it. And then I see him catching it, and I'm like, okay, we're destined. But I got to admit, when Fairbairn missed that extra point, I was ready to chop him into pieces, man. I thought we were going to lose by a point.
Yeah, and the thing about it, the Texans defense tightened up at the right time. They really did, because I think because they were determined that they were going to go ahead and run the ball down all the way to the end, score the touchdown, and then the PAT, that was going to be it. The PAT was going to be it. And you know what? Anybody else in their right mind? I don't care if Alfred Hitchcock was writing this ending. He pretty well had this thing scripted out. Only one problem: the Texans didn't buy into it. They held tight on the second and third down drive, and I thought that's where Collins and Sheldon Rankins and Tar. I thought they, from a defensive tackle standpoint, they stood strong, because they had been getting grinded up pretty good. But those guys stayed strong toward the end. They got down in the trenches, and as I stated, it was only for men to be in that trench then. It was not a pretty sight. This is only for grown men to be playing at that time. And even all those rookies, and I was thinking about what Friday was sort of walking around looking at, particularly Xavier Hutchinson, and he was standing next to Henry Tor, and I was going like, y'all not rookies anymore, guys.
No,
I told him, I just made him say, hey, y'all not rookies anymore. They say, y'all vets now, and you know what? And far as I'm concerned, if CJ Stroud didn't submit the Rookie of the Year award from the night, they might as well just go ahead and tear up the reward and let it go.
I would agree. And as he does, and you and I have talked about this so many times, but as he does every game, when he was interviewed on the field immediately after the game, when he came back out of the locker room after the big celebration for the ESPN post-game interview, he went on and on, over and over. I bet if he mentioned it once, he mentioned it 7 times at least, about how blessed he was, and that he wanted to thank his Lord and Savior Jesus Christ for putting him in that opportunity. And, stop and think. I mean, we know there were millions of people watching this game tonight. What a strong Christian influence that young man has, besides being a tremendous franchise quarterback. And I got to say, you know, you and I talked about this early on. I was not a huge Nick Caserio fan early on when he came to Houston 3 years ago, but I owe that man a huge apology. He has done what needed to be done in the draft. He molded this team and put it together, and I'm sure you may have heard it say, I don't know if you were watching, you probably weren't watching any of the ESPN post game, but they mentioned that since Nick Caserio came in, only 7 players are on the Texans roster that were on that roster 3 years ago. He has literally rebuilt this team from the ground up, and they have nothing but tremendous, tremendous potential in the future. And I tell you what, I think they got a great chance. Whoever they play, I think they've got a great chance of making a ball game out of it, regardless of where and who they play next weekend.
Oh no! Let me tell you something. The Texans are not a sure bet for anybody. Anybody thinking they got to come in and play the Texans, because CJ has proven that he has Freon in his veins. I mean, this kid has Freon in his veins, man. He is, and you know what? Friday I think it was Friday. They gave him, you know, the local Houston media presented him with the trophy, the Good Guy Award. And you know, we all gathered around him, and I was joking with him. I say, "Okay, I'm gonna be on your left side. I'm gonna be your left. I'm gonna be blocking on your left side, man." He looked at me and just laughed, you know. But the kid is so humble. It's unbelievable.
Oh yeah,
he is he's a humble young man, and you know the thing about it, you mentioned Nick Caserio and everything else that goes along with it. The fact of the matter is that every one of those draft picks stuck.
yes,
Every last one of those draft picks contributed to this team going. I mean, all of them. The ones that got you just from top to bottom. Obviously, you know, Mills. I mean, not the I mean, Will Anderson. Yeah, Will was dealing with a high ankle sprain and everything. Yep. So, but the fact that all of them, every last one of them, got all of those guys from top to bottom, from that first 2 pick all the way to the very last one, all of them had a part of this team.
They did. And, you know, you and I have talked about many times through the years, and I've talked about it, college games, high school games, about how coaches can outsmart themselves. You got Taylor has taken you all the way down there. 4th and 1, you pull him out and try to throw a pass. I mean, I'm tickled to death for the Texans that they did it and the pass was incomplete. But if I'm an Indianapolis Colts fan, I am furious that you didn't keep Taylor in there and hand the ball to him.
Well, either go play action to him.
Well, yeah,
but the thing about it, I mean, that on that particular pass play, I think Minshew just got overly careful with throwing the ball, because I mean they had the first down.
They might have had a touchdown even.
Yeah. I mean the first down, it was there. It was gift wrapped.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Christmas is just past, but it's almost like somebody had left the Indianapolis Colts an extra present under the tree. Yep. Only one problem: when they pulled it up, snap, you got a lump of coal.
Yep.
Yeah, but man, you know, it's a point that just, you looked at this team, and the thing about it, that first play set a tone.
Oh yeah, it said we're not going away.
No, and for the longest, and so, you know. I think Bobby Slowick, you know, in the third quarter, you know, I know he went back to his script for a little bit on the way some of the plays was going.
Yeah.
But at a certain point, in between Devin Singletary and, you know, Motor, he got enough yardage on the run. The run game gave you enough.
Yeah.
just to work the clock.
Yep.
It was just enough. It was if I can use this analogy, it's like I'm making a peanut butter sandwich and I'm just got just enough peanut butter on there and covered it up with just enough jelly. Ideal peanut butter sandwich, but it's I know some folks probably be saying, "What the devil is he doing?" Anyway,
Hey, you're talking my language. I love peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
but it was one of those things, and I know I remember when I X'd out or tweeted out that after that drive, normally how we tag stuff on our I put at the top, I put like go blue, go blue. And for some, that was right after the Nico Collins deal. And I'm going like, so he's in the playoffs and his alma mater will be playing Monday night for the national championship. So, and I'm sitting up here looking at him now and he's got that big Michigan, big blue jacket on. So, I mean, let's face it, young man, as they always say, rumble, young man, rumble. And the same thing with CJ, Devin Singletary. You start going down the list. The Texans, let's face it, they were on their third center.
Yeah.
Think about this now. And Shaq Mason, and like I said, every time I be in the locker room, during the week and going by, I just call Shaq the Iron Man because Shaq was the only offensive lineman designated to start that started all 17 games. I tip my hat to Shaq Mason.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna have to go back and do some research to see how he graded out from an offensive guard standpoint. We know Laramie Tunsil made the Pro Bowl, his fourth Pro Bowl. I just wish the young man could hold his water a little bit because on one of those legal procedures that was a difference like 31, and all of a sudden he's been known, he's good for getting a couple of illegal procedures every game. So false starts, whatever, and I can you see him sometime in knowing that what pass rushes he's going, how he's trying to come out his stance. Because I think on a couple of times he probably should have been called more, but I'm not going to nitpick that to the point. But just the fact that second one he got, I was about ready to hurl.
Yeah, what you mean? I know what you mean, man. Hey, one other thing about CJ, he ended up having the third most passing yardage in the history of the NFL tonight by a rookie in the regular season. So another big accolade for CJ.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, and the kid, as I said, he has Freon in his veins, man. He's cool, calm, and collected. And the thing now, remember last week against Tennessee. Well, no, it was. I think it was against Cleveland. Remember, it was a couple of times because he had just come back from the concussion protocol, and I thought it was a couple of times that he probably could have ran, didn't. Tonight, when he selectively took off the run, because they were either in a man situation that they were really running a sort of like a zone underneath and a man over top, and he took off, man, and he was very precise and concise, and when he decided to use his legs tonight. Yeah. And so I you got to tip your hat to him on that situation, Tell you what, let's get Mr. Ross in one more time, and then then we can get back and let me.
Hello, I'm Ken Ross with the Ken Ross Insurance Agency. There are certain things that are important in our lives: our health, our safety, and our loved ones. With over 40 years of experience, I've seen just how important insurance can be. I value the importance of being a part of my community and being there when they need me. Insurance is important everywhere, but being here in South Texas, it is absolutely essential. From flood, home, auto, and life insurance, let the Ken Ross Agency be your agency of choice.
That's right, folks. 281-235-5952. I got a screen over my shoulder here when they sort of going back, and I'm looking at this victorious locker room.
Oh, it's
and,
great.
I mean, it's I might have to start calling D'Amico instead of going calling him coach. I might have to start calling him bishop or reverend, because his motivation and his will. And the thing about it, when we and on Fridays, you hadn't had a chance to be there on Fridays.
No.
It's sort of it's off the record, because we sort of can just sit around and we sort of get around it. It's sort of like a bull session. We talking, talk. But his whole forte is like, and every time when we were starting to direct a lot of things toward him about the team, and like he said, it's not about me anymore. He said, I've had my day on the field, and I can appreciate that. But realistically, I don't know who his agent is. I don't know if he have any clauses in his contract. Like I saw today that Joe Flacco, Cleveland decided to give Joe Flacco because I don't think they're gonna start him tomorrow. But I think they probably will. I'm not sure, but they're gonna get. I think they saw what he made. They're gonna go ahead and give him his bonus of $75,000, because he's up for a lot of incentives on his for his Cleveland. And like I referred to him, I thought he was. I call him, and I went really old school, because the way he was throwing them long balls on the Texans, I just reminded me of Daryl LaMonica and bombs away with the old Oakland Raiders. So, but anyway, back to the Texans. They're in the playoffs. We just got to hope that the Tennessee Titans not gonna mail it in tomorrow. I would hope that they don't. I'm not gonna say that I'm not gonna accuse them of saying that they will.
Right.
But I would hope that Mike Vrabel can muster up some kind of speech tomorrow, because they know after they finish tomorrow, they washing uniforms.
Oh yeah.
And we know the Indianapolis Colts gonna wash a uniform.
Yep.
They throwing theirs away. They got to go wash a uniform. But the Houston Texans folks, they fight and win and live for another day. So, hey, hats off. As we get to the close, man, final comments from you. Anything, and any 2 or 3 things you want to just get in before we get ready to shut it down?
Yeah, the one thing I want to talk about briefly is, of course, a lot is yet to be determined about the AFC playoff seedings with some final games, including the last one tomorrow night between Miami and Buffalo. However, stop and look at this. Right now, the Texans are in the number 7 spot. Is where they sit at this moment. If they remain number 7, they're going to have to go to Baltimore,
which they went to the first game of the year.
Well, no, wait a minute. I'm sorry.
I thought in the Buffalo
have a bye. Baltimore gets the bye.
Yeah, I think it'd be Buffalo.
Either Miami or Buffalo. If we can get a little help from the Titans and they can defeat the Jaguars, then the Texans go up as AFC South Division champions. And I'm guessing they would probably end up hosting, if that all works out, maybe the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think which they've already played once this year.
Yeah, I would just say this to all the Texans fans. Keep up with the scenarios tomorrow and keep up with what you're going to be given, probably about 20 different things out of tomorrow's games that can happen to determine who plays whom next week. But obviously, it would be awesome if the Texans could get a win by Tennessee to give them the division championship and play at home. But even if they don't, like you said, they're not an easy out.
No.
Now, if they go to Miami, I would like their chances in Miami better than if they end up having to go to Buffalo with a possible 20-inch snowstorm going on or something. But we know from what we've seen, this team is going to fight to the finish. They're going to be in it, and I think they will play a very competitive game next week in their wild card game, despite or whoever it might be. And that pretty much finishes up my thoughts. Just extremely excited, ecstatic, proud to have been covering the Texans since they started in 2002. And to me, this is probably the best job the Texans have ever had of coaching since they became a team.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I mean, we were both we were there in 2002, and you start going down. You just start. I mean, even though they have won some AFC South titles under Bill O'Brien, but all of that those banners that hang up in NRG Stadium, there's something. If they can win this one, there's something significant. That's a unique aura. If they're able to hang that banner, to me, I think that the precipice will. I think a foundation and a precipice will be laid if they are able to get that banner and hang it. Because I know I firmly feel that's not going to be the last one that's going to get hung.
No, and I firmly believe this. With the way this team has been built and the draft picks that they'll have again in 2024, if Nick Caserio continues to do as well as he's done, and I don't see anything changing that, and if they hold on to Nick Caserio, because I know other people are going to be coming after him like crazy now, but if Nick stays, this team could potentially become the decade team or the team of the decade this decade. With
the draft, I concur. I think if they can come back with a draft class like they had, like this particular draft class. Now, you mentioned about Nick. You mentioned about Nick Caserio. There's only one place he's going to go back, Elwyn.
I know, the Patriots.
Yeah, I mean that's only one place. I mean, he only knows one thing, and that's the Patriots way. I think a lot's going to have to be as far as that's concerned, and Nick Caserio's concerned. I think a lot is going to be dependent on what Bill Belichick's decided, what he's going to decide to do, and what kind of conversation that him and Robert Kraft have had or going to have after tomorrow.
Well, I don't know though. I think Nick knows what he has built and what the Texans have, and everybody admits the Patriots are going to be a 5 to 7 year rebuilding mode now. I don't know that Nick would want to go back, even though that's his home area. I don't know that he would want to go back and have to go through the doldrums of the lows like the Texans went through his first 2 years, knowing what he has got put together for the next several years. And I think that's the one thing that would probably allow us to keep him.
Okay, well, I'm gonna say I think Nick signed a 6-year contract.
Yeah.
And he's in year what?
This is his 3rd year.
Yeah, okay. So he still got 3 more years on his contract. And heck, for all the tampering charges that the Texans and everything they went through, for all the histrionics and all the other stuff, the Jack Estebe's and all this other stuff, all this tomfoolery that we had to deal with, you know what? That's a decision he's going to make. But you know what? At this point right now, he's in the running with coach of the year with D'Amico Ryans being coach of the year. He's in the running for being executive of the year. And, I mean, regardless of how we felt about him in the prior 2 years,
yep.
The proof is in the pudding.
It is.
Hey man, getting ready to wrap it up. Final points. Any points from you before we get ready to shut it down?
Well, again, just extremely proud of what this whole team has done, the way they've hung together, and the fact that they were able to go 1-1, which obviously is the difference of getting in the playoffs when CJ was out with the concussion, and Case Keenum did a great job in pulling out that victory in Tennessee, and just proud of what these guys have done. and excited to see what they're going to do next week and what's coming in the future.
Yeah, like I said, I might, you and I might be back in the press box. I thought we might have been done, but
Yep.
you and I might be back in the press box in Houston. We'll probably, it'll be next month, by the time we get to Vegas,
Yep.
As far as the Legion Field down there. But as far as coming back to NRG, you and I both probably thought we were done. I think we probably got one more. We got probably one. I know for the fact that they win the AFC South. We got one more game in there.
Yep.
We got one more. All right, man. Hey, have a good one.
You too.
We just have to see how tomorrow unfolds. If some things fall our way, we'll probably be seeing you next Sunday or Saturday. I'm not sure. And that Saturday or Sunday, we don't know because you know how the NFL is. They'll keep you guessing till the last moment. I just hope, like the devil, I don't want to have to think about, even in my wildest imagination, trying to go to Western New York to see the Buffalo Bills. I'm trying to block that out of my cranium. I'm blocking that out. I'm just going no. Woosah, whatever. Woosah. Bro, have a good one.
You too.
We'll be in touch. Anyway, I appreciate you, and you take care, man.
All right, have a good one.
All right, folks. This is your man, Adolphus A.D. Moore, getting ready to sign off. Get ready to try to get a little, come down, and sit there and the euphoria of watching this team the Texans again, 23-19. They are in the playoffs. Now, where will they wind up in the playoffs? You just hope like heck that the Tennessee Titans can muster some kahunas and go out there and play football tomorrow if they can defeat the Jacksonville Jaguar that will give the Texans the AFC South. Without further ado, this is your man, Texans 23, Indianapolis Colts 19. The Texans went on the road. The Road Warriors went on the road and defeated and put themselves in the playoffs. They eliminated the Indianapolis Colts. Remember, the Colts came to the second game of the year and basically spanked the Texans here at NRG Stadium. So the Texans went to Lucas Oil Field and struck all. Now, along with striking all, they struck the Indianapolis Colts out. So, further ado, I'm out. This is your man. Ciao. I'm gone, folks. And we'll just have to wait and see tomorrow where the Texans will wind up in the playoffs. See ya.